Happy good morning. This is Brienne from Zenful Mindings, and I'm still getting used to knowing when to talk on these things when they go live. But I woke up this morning with this huge and very painful knot situation happening in my shoulder and neck. And I wanted to use it as an opportunity to talk about why we practice whatever resources that we're working on during times when we don't feel like we really need it. And it's because of situations like this. And I woke up this morning, and to be really honest, it's pretty painful. It took me quite a while to get out of my bed. And I could have made the first stop, like a bottle of ibuprofen or something like that, a quick fix, and then sat in my misery for a little while and waited for it to kick in. And then I would have felt better, right? But what would have probably happened is, 4 to 6 hours later, the pain would come back because I haven't actually worked on the problem. I covered it up. I gave myself this pain reliever, but that's not going to help the muscle rest. It's not going to help ease the tension out. And I'd have to keep taking that throughout the day. And that's not something I want to do. And especially long term, I don't want to continue to do that day after day because ultimately that's going to do my body more harm than good. So instead, I managed to make my coffee because that's a first priority. But then I worked through these gentle movements, right? To investigate, well, where is this knot? What's happening that's causing this tension, or where do I need to focus? And I worked through these gentle movements that can be maybe a little bit humbling and feel super slow because I'm not using my full typical mobility because if I know that if I do that, blah, blah, blah. I know if I do that, I'm going to end up hurting it more than I am helping it also. So I'm working through these gentle movements and I'm going as slow as I possibly can. I'm trying to breathe into it. I'm noticing where there's resistance to actually receiving breath in that particular area. And then I'm trying to go through that set of motions again, right? It's this repetitive process to try to let try to ease some tension in there, right? To let it go. And this is exactly why we practice during times where we don't feel like we need it. Because if I didn't have a strong habit in that, my first step would have been the ibuprofen, right? And this is really common, and there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. But for me, what I've found is a better investment is building that habit so that the first thing I turn to are the tools that I'm working on cultivating. So maybe it's the physical yoga practice of going through the postures. Maybe it's meditating or practicing breath practices, right? It could be any number of things. It could be anything that's self-care also. It might be, taking that walk in nature or doing journal work, whatever it is for you. These can all help us mentally, emotionally, and spiritually when we have these bigger moments where we really need to call those tools in to help us. If we don't have that habit, they're not going to be the first thing we reach to. And if we do reach for them, we might get very easily discouraged because we don't fully understand how they work for us. Right? We might have this picture of how they ideally work. Like maybe we, do something one time and we expect this quick one-time fix, but that's just not how they work, right? If I had done one set of movement for this, I probably would have felt a little bit better, but it wouldn't have been super helpful in the long run. So I had to do it a few times. It still hurts. I'm going to do it again later. And another thing I thought about with this is that we, with the things that aren't physical, often bypass them. And I know that I have talked about that quite a bit before. Hello, Demi. I know I have talked about that before, but we tend to shove things down because they're not convenient, right? So similar to taking the ibuprofen, we shut off our thinking brains, we shut down our hearts, we shut down our spirits, we make ourselves small in some way to get through the moment. But if we continue to use the tools, then we can find our strength in the practice, right? The investment that allows us to have confidence in what they're going to do for us in the long run, rather than going for the quick fix bypass or ibuprofen or whatever it might be for you. So I strongly urge you, in those moments where it feels like you need absolutely nothing from the universe, that you're in such a good spot, return to whatever practice it is that is feeding you and nourishing you. Not only is that going to help that goodness last a little longer, but in the moments when we are having the physical injury, when we are having the emotional, mental, or spiritual emergencies, those are going to be the things that we turn to more quickly and more effectively. I appreciate you tuning in. Please like, share, and subscribe. Happy good morning, and enjoy your cup of coffee, tea, or juice. Have a good day.